My name is Rita Crompton, and this is Inventing in America. And my guests today are Morris Newman and George Peters, both from the Northeast and working with inventors for a long, long time. George has actually been around a little longer than I have doing this, but he's got his own inventions and actually has one in the White House. So congratulations, George. We're here talking about the value of educating beginning inventors and even more seasoned inventors on the process. The more you know, the better you will do and the greater chance of success. So everybody talks about patents. I want to get a patent. Okay, great. Patents have been around for hundreds of years, even in America. 1790s is when they started. But things have changed. Things are always in change. So what used to last for 3 years now lasts for 20 years from date of filing. But it used to be the first to invent. So if you could prove you were the inventor, you got it. Now it's first to file like the rest of the world. So as things change, again, the more you know as an inventor, the better you will do. And Morris and George are hosting a class coming up on June 25th. We will provide you with the information. It is called TIPA. And Morris is going to explain to you exactly what that is and what you can learn from it.
Thank you, Rita. TIPA is the Inventors Patent Academy, and what it is, it's a collaboration with an organization called Invent Together, and one of its founding partners, which is the Qualcomm Corporation, the very large San Diego organization that, as they put it, Qualcomm is there to engineer human progress, and of course, New England Invents, which is the organization that George is CEO and president of, and I'm a vice president. Invent Together is an alliance of nonprofits, universities, companies, and other stakeholders that are dedicated to understanding the participation gaps in invention and patenting, and they support public policy and private initiatives to close those gaps. Invent Together works to ensure that everyone should have an equal opportunity to invent and patent. New England Invents is an organization that helps inventors from around the country, notwithstanding our name, to commercialize their intellectual property. And we are part of the Invent Together collaboration. Again, what we're working on is what's called the Inventors Patent Academy. Now, some of your viewers may have been familiar with this from the past because it's been out there for several years now. Over the past year, we have been working with them on modifying and improving, hopefully, the Inventors Patent Academy. The primary part of the academy is about a 6-hour-long, totally free online course that inventors can take to learn about the ins and outs of the patenting system. But mostly what it's focused on is helping you, the inventor, to understand the right questions to ask your professional, be it your attorney or whoever else is part of your team. They have also recently, the TIPA folks, created what's called Essentials of Patenting, which is a summary course, shall we say. Instead of it being about 6 hours long, it's about 2 hours long. And what George and I have been particularly working on is the most recent part of the TIPA set of courses, and that's the one called Creating Value from Your Patent. As we know, it's very difficult and very time-consuming and very expensive to successfully get a patent. Yet it's the least hard of the things that you need to do to be successful in getting your product out to the marketplace where it can benefit all of mankind, right? And that's why we added in the Creating Value course. It's a lot shorter, which means it's a very, very high-level overview. And again, the idea of it is for the inventors to take it, to get a better understanding of what's really going on so that they can ask the right questions, not so they can, literally go it alone. I'll just run through real quickly what the internal segments of it are. The first of those is to learn about market research and validation. The next is team building. How do you decide who to bring into your team? You can't do it all entirely by yourself. So how do you figure that out? The next lesson is proof of concept and prototyping and product development. How do you go about that? What are the things to look for, both the positives and the negatives, the things to be looking out for? Another lesson is integrating IP, which of course stands for intellectual property, strategy in your business strategy. You folks out there might all know what intellectual property is, but basically it's patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. One of the things that is absolutely critical, it might not be the most fun, but that's funding and budgeting. It's, in many regards, the most important so that you know where the dollars are going because dollars are underlying all of it. Related to that is how to establish your business model. How do you actually go and get this thing into the marketplace, which of course is absolutely critical. And part of that is pitching your invention. What do you have to know to, intrigue others on it? Folks are always talking about the elevator pitch. And every time I hear that, I always say, well, are you going up 2 floors? Or are you going up to the top of the Empire State Building, right? And the reality is you have to have different floor levels of elevator pitch. You've got to have that one that is just a couple of seconds. So people say, tell me more. And then you continue your ride up to the top of the building, right? And then ultimately it's about getting your invention to market. So we're very proud of what George and I have helped to create, and what we're most proud about, I would say, is the 7 inventors who are featured in that product that we've put out. So you will hear from the actual people who've been through this journey and can help you on your way. Just real quickly, the first one is Michael Kerwin. He's a West Point graduate who invented a sunscreen that you can shine a UV light on it, especially useful for parents making sure their children are properly covered because the integrated UV light will show where the product is and where it isn't. Michelle Moulin is featured. She developed a high-tech system for transferring power from your cell phone to other devices. We all know you could put your cell phone on a pad or whatever now and it sucks up the power. Well, there's times when it needs to go the other direction, and she has created that. You'll hear from her. You hear from Russell Kramer. He's an inveterate inventor of lots of products, and he has very practical consumer products that he will be talking about. Joe Russo is a fascinating guy. He's a guitarist who realized the need for a standing guitar case. And while that's pretty cool, to me, the coolest thing is that he had to invent a hinge that never existed before, that I think is going to find all sorts of applications that no one could have, conceived of before. You will also get to meet Jules Weldon and Stace Pierce, 2 women who invented a cart basically that is designed to go everywhere, onto beaches, into snow, into mountains and all that. Very versatile. And they both now also help to mentor other inventors who are on their journey. 2 additional ones, the last 2, and they could just as easily be the first 2. Lexa Gandolfo, she's a mom who saw the need to expand the carrying ability of the trunk of her SUV for the kids. So she invented this innovative shelf that essentially expands that area back there. And this product is now available for sale. And the tastiest of them all is Hamdallah Alono, who's from West Africa, who took her grandmother's recipe for a delicious treat that it doesn't do it justice to say it's like granola, but it's kind of like that, right? And she's now got that trademarked. It's not an invention in the sense of something you would patent, but Goody Crunch is what it's called, and it's now getting into the market. So we're very, very proud of that. George and I have tasted it, and we were beating up other people to get it because it was so good. So that's kind of an overview of what we've done and what the Inventors Patent Academy is. If I hadn't said it before, I'll say it now. It's totally free. So, we really encourage folks to utilize this opportunity. And again, on June 25th, we're going to be having a launch event specifically around our creating value, module. And so we invite, if anybody is in the Haverhill, Massachusetts area to come by and meet us. And for everybody else, there's going to be a Zoom link so you can tune in.
Excellent. We will make sure that all of that gets posted so people will be able to find you, get in touch with you if they've got questions. And, over the years where I've been working with inventors, and so often where they get in touch with me, they've made mistakes. And if they'd had, TIPA in advance, they wouldn't have made those mistakes. They get, well, I don't have the money to file a patent and I need help. If you don't have the money for the patent, you're probably not going to have the money for the manufacturing or for the marketing. And, until you've got something, you're not going to have investors getting interested in, partnering with you, being part of your team. They want to know you've got something. Well, how do you do that? Let's go to TIPA and find out how you do that and get it teed up so that if you've got something. I've always thought that investors are like the sharks. It doesn't matter how expensive the suit is, the shark is still going to eat you. You know, they're going to want their money back. Well, if you don't know, if you're not teed up and you go out there and you ask for somebody like that, I have seen guys go under in a heartbeat because they didn't meet a business plan. Well, how can you do a business plan when you don't have a business yet? You know, and inventors don't know that when they start. It's like, oh, let's go and get a business plan done. For what? You're guessing. You know, get a prototype, go to a trade show, get some feedback, market research and stuff. So, you know, it's the more they know before they start spending money, the better decisions they will make with the amount of money they've got. You know, nobody has got $1 million to teach you that an apple is something that you play with instead of something that you eat. Apple had that kind of money, and now we all know an apple is more likely a toy you play with than something that you eat. But most of the inventors, they've got to be really careful with their words because they don't have millions of dollars for a marketing campaign. They've got to be careful. So George, jump in there, add something for us.
Thank you, Rita and Morris. Great job on the module coming out of Qualcomm and our partners. Rita, as you know, I've been doing this a long time, about 25 years. I think when you first, you or I meet someone that says, I have an idea for something, we always start out with, inventors are great at solving problems for themselves. They just think that everybody else has the same problem that they just solved. And that is the marketing, the monetizing, and the merchandising of a product way down the line. The proof of concept, as you know, Rita, what we try to get people out there is not only prove this to yourself, but test it in the market beforehand. Try it out. Get some focus groups, which they still use.
Yeah, and different things are tested different ways. You know, we had a gentleman that invented a product called the nose tee. It's to stop nosebleeds. Well, it's not like he can go out, you know, and say, come here, let me show you how this works, and punch him in the nose.
You're right.
Without getting arrested. So for him, testing the marketplace was a little bit more of a challenge and easier to do at a, you know, playground or a kid's soccer game, or, you know, oh yeah, they had some really good testings going on at the boxing matches. And they're going, holy cow, this thing really works. But you had to pay attention on where you were going to go to get your testing done. I know he ended up in the emergency room one night, ended up staying an extra 3 hours because he was showing all the doctors how to use the nose tee.
Right. And that's an ideal thing for when we do meet with people. People contact us from all over at New England Invents. We're a nonprofit organization that started in the late 1970s as the Inventors Association of New England, as you know. And we turned it into a nonprofit a few years ago because we wanted to give it some legs with being sustainable itself so it can continue on helping people. Many of the people that come to New England Invents, as I said, have that idea they just drew on a piece of paper. Some have it halfway through. Some are at the end and look for licensing opportunities because they proved the concept. They've checked off the boxes that companies look for. You have some sales, but you can't get the price down to where it should be because you can't scale it enough so you can have someone make 100,000 of them and you can only make 100 at a time. So the courses take people through a lot of different scenarios that we think that's finally going to flatten out that curve of education, similar to you go to kindergarten and through high school and then into college, a nice straight line. The inventor's learning curve is more, Rita, as you know, like the EKG. We're up and we're down and we're up. And we flatline sometimes. You get jolted because you maybe get a little money more to spend, and then you continue on. We're trying to make it more like a gradual stepping stone of information for people. And that's what really has never been done before. And to put this together with Qualcomm and Invent Together, we're now seeing that we're going to have this education line that people can follow and truly understand, coming from people who have been through this. This is the way that we think it should go. Rita, as you know, and Morris knows, there are a lot of bad actors out there. I don't name any names, but until we can really draw a line down the center and saying, this is the way to do it, and this is not going to cost you anything. Rita, I was one of those inventors where I had so many people's hand in my pocket, I couldn't get my own hand in my pocket to get money.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it hits you like a tsunami, and you say, no, I need some money for this, I need some money for that. That's why one of the things is about budgeting, not only your money, but your time.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time away from my family trying to do something to benefit my family, but all they saw that I wasn't with them. So that time you never get back. So you have to budget your time too.
You do. And one of the things that, I've noticed over the years is that, in the beginning, they think they're going to buy an island. It's like, no, if you ever get to the point where you're putting money into the bank, you'll make, it's extra disposable income, make a car payment, send somebody to college. But that idea of buying an island, few and far between. So don't buy a rocket ship just yet. We've got work to do. So we really look at doing the steps. And when somebody calls me and says, well, I'm out of money, what now? It's like, I don't know, what is now? And, when they say, all right, here's my budget. They come, they've got an idea, and it's like, here's my budget. This is what I've got to work with. I keep my day job, and this is where I go. It's a lot easier to help advise them through the steps if, they tell us what they've got to work with, as opposed to, okay, I've put $50,000 into my patent, get a different patent attorney. All right, because you needed some of that for your prototypes. And so, where we've learned a lot over the decades, it certainly will help more inventors if we're able to share with them before they've fallen off the canyon cliff.
Right.
Inventing is like climbing a mountain. It's one step in front of the other. If you sit there and stare at the top, you will never get there. And, you just got to know where the good steps are. And, like Mountain Rescue used to tell me, don't make me come get you.
Yeah. The people at Qualcomm, Invent Together, other organizations that we work with, we were all working in silos before, Rita. Myself included. We didn't know each other. We didn't know who was doing what, the good work that was being done. And I think what's going to be an important step for a lot of people, that when they go online, they think the first place they come up is the place that they should go for information. It should be, again, one of the tools where you should check out many different organizations that do it to see how they do it. Do they offer services that are free? Do they offer follow-up services that you can contact somebody and talk to them individually about where you are in the process? And that's what we are expanding at New England Invents, to get more people involved in that. And one of the things that we realized a few years ago, that men and women getting ready to exit the military were looking for ways that maybe to start a business. They had an idea they couldn't really share while they were in the military. They're coming out, and some of them have already fallen victim to invention submission companies and come to us, and they're $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 lighter in the wallet because they were just putting out money when they didn't really have to, but didn't understand that they had options. And we hope to fill that void very quickly with Qualcomm and TIPA.
We've got an Inventors Roundtable meeting tonight. It's called the 3 S's, avoiding the 3 S's, scams, scoundrels, and saboteurs. And so, this one is talking about, the business side, the intellectual property, saboteurs. It's amazing how many pieces of mail I get that have an official USPTO logo on them and scam. Well, I know to look for those things. The regular inventor doesn't. And now all of a sudden they're in a panic. And, so that's the one. And then the one in 2 weeks is about marketing scoundrels. And so, yeah, we're going to have some fun with the 3 S's, scams, scoundrels, and saboteurs, and point to things that people can watch for and ask better questions. And, that's really what it is being able to gather the right information before you're on the victim side of things, because America invents. We do. And the number of inventors feeling comfortable stepping into this has gone way down over the last few decades. And it's unfortunate because some of the best ideas come from the people working in their own field.
Right. We get from consumer products, medical products, ideas, and then we try to pass them on if we can't help them. If they're ready for the next stage, prototyping, they need more legal help, at least we can direct them to people that we've done business with, so that there's nothing like that, as you know, Rita, that warm referral where you can say, hey, talk to Rita, talk to Morris, talk to Alexa, talk to this person. We've worked with them. We know that they're going to treat you the right way. That handoff is absolutely critical in our business. Whereas, it's an unregulated business.
Oh yeah.
$15,000 that you keep sending to somebody, there's not going to be anybody that you can call to say, I'd like to get my money back. This is
Right.
not regulated by, you would think that somewhere along the line that somebody would have figured out how to do this, because we're the ones that come up with the ideas. We're the ones that get the products on the shelf.
Yeah.
We are, I don't want to say the hidden part of the economy, but innovation happens all the time within companies, and it's outside of companies,
Yeah.
all over. And
It-
I
got
think
a gentleman now that has invented a new athletic training tool that everybody is going nuts over. And, I was his licensing agent. And so he called me and he goes, okay, I went to this national sports show 3 weeks ago and everybody is contacting me. All the big sports names. It is wonderful. And he goes, I have no idea what I'm doing. I invented this thing that works and everybody's crazy about it. But he goes, now I am totally, how do I be a CEO of something when I'm a coach.
Right.
And stuff. So, we're helping him, look at the options and negotiate and being that team for him, so that, he doesn't say anything out of the coach sandbox of training and everything. But the company that's interested, they're looking at 700,000 users by the end of the year. Okay, we'll take it. Hallelujah, And so it's been really incredible, the journey with helping some of these folks get their products into the marketplace. We licensed a medical product, a couple of years ago that when someone's got to have a feeding tube, the young girl had early onset Parkinson's. She had a feeding tube in high school and college. She became a chemist because she needed a way to fix it. And she did. And, one of our attorneys did it for her, took it. We licensed it to a company that makes the stomas. They go, we've known this was a problem for decades and we didn't know how to fix it. She fixed it. And they're selling this product all over the world.
Rita, one of and those are great stories. And we've all been with the people that we had to kind of break the news to them that maybe this had been done before. People don't do the simple part of a prior art search. Maybe we tell people that, hey, maybe this has been done before and it did get some intellectual property and there could be reasons why it's not out there in the marketplace. So do your research, do your homework. Anyone likes to be able to sit down with somebody who is at least somehow aware of how deep the pool is.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they put, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet at the pool. So when you jump in, you know how deep it is. An Inventor pool doesn't have any depth markers on it.
No.
So you're jumping into the pool and hopefully you can swim or there's people around you that can throw you a life ring. We'd like to get you before you jump into the pool. That's as simple as I can put it, because I jumped into the pool head first a long time ago and I still 25 years later have the lump on my head from jumping into the pool head first, because I was that.
I was just going to say the hair never grew back, right?
Yeah, it never grew out. Just that one lump. And I always remember that from going, well, maybe I should have called somebody first to see how deep this was.
Well, I think that TIPA is going to have a wonderful impact on those inventors that are just getting started. They've got an idea. They don't know what to do. That they are able then to get online and get the information so that they know whether or not they've got something. They know how to find out. They know how to do some of that early research. They know, the different types of service providers, when to get them. And TIPA is the course that, I think we've all been looking for when someone says, I've got an idea. It's like, here, do this first, so that you're able to, have better information and make better decisions. When you've got better information, you make better decisions.
It's so critical early on when you talked before about funding. I spent money I didn't have, should have been going to someplace else in my family. They don't build casinos from all the winners. And when you're doing product development and things like that, you have to stay away from as many casinos as you can, because they will take your money and think you're having a good time doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have no money for yourself. That's another important part. I always ask somebody, well, what's your family think about this? Do they run in the other directions like several members of my family did when I said I have an idea, and they run down the hallway? Hopefully I forget to tell them, but it's critical, the finances, because you could have a lot of arguments about how money is going to be spent. And if you set your budget and saying, this is how much I have, and let people know that, it'll be absolutely much better for you going down the road. And if it doesn't happen to be that your idea works out and you've only, skinned your knee a little bit, that's a lot better. You can get on to the next one, because a lot of people, Rita, as you know, they get hurt really deeply with a product that failed or something like that, and then they quit altogether. Well, they could come up with another idea, but they've been injured so much that they decide, I'm not going to do this anymore at all. So we just like them to, people always have ideas, and you want people to keep coming up with ideas. So I think TIPA, especially in creating value from your patent, a critical part of the whole process, is going to help a lot of people. And if they get through the course, which is very easy to do, and they decide this really isn't for me, then that's great.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wonderful that they said, you know what, boy, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. You hate to be $20,000 poorer and go, boy, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Or, you get that point where you're $20,000 into it and realize then you can't finish it.
Correct.
And that's a tough one. And it's tough on families to go that route and stuff. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. We're going to get this out there and let everybody know about it. And I wish you the best of luck. I will be there on the 25th.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you, Rita.
Virtual.
Rita, if anybody wants to know also, they can go to neinvents.org to get the link also. If they can't find the link for TIPA, we like to, we want to track how many people are taking the course. So one of those certain links is neinvents.org is where they can go to pick up the link at New England Events website.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. And I will talk to both of you again soon.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you, Rita.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.